We keep you up to date with information on Hurricane Sandy on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Monday, October 29th, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. Barnstable town officials are preparing for the Hurricane Sandy. We caught up with Assistant Town Manager Mark Ells this morning. He's working to coordinate with the Department of Public Works with preparations.
Right now we are just watching and keeping our fingers crossed on this one. Wind speeds are picking up, and we expect by midday certainly to have some sustained winds in the 30, 40, 50, maybe gusts up to 70. That'll probably continue right into the evening. So, once you get up into the 30 plus, you certainly got the potential for some tree damage. There's been some very minor tree damage. We don't have any reports of power outages. So, the immediate situation is just watch this storm as it progresses and then respond. Our crews are out there right now checking catch basins. We got a lot of leaves down, a lot of leaves still left on the trees. So as those come down, they'll cover up drainage structures, and you'll see some localized flooding occur. So, the more we can minimize that, the better. And we'll wait. Our phones will be manned here until the storm's over, and certainly if you have an issue, you can call our highway division at 790-6330, and we'll also get some numbers for you. I think you have the NSTAR number, Sarah. So power outages are not what we address. We go out there after they clean the wires off the trees, and we'll clean up the trees on our public roads. So, NSTAR will have to come into this loop as well.
How about, in terms of preparing for potential power outages, how much of that falls, maybe if you see tree limbs that might be in harm's way, is that something that you might go and trim, or is that something that more is in the lap of NSTAR?
Well, obviously in advance of a storm, either of us could do it depending on where they are and what the issue is. If it falls within, the area of roadway that we're responsible for on public lands, and it's identified, we are the public identified, certainly we'll go in and do that. And then NSTAR obviously has their, limb clearing program for maintenance purposes to keep them away from the wires. So, either party during a storm event, if the public has a concern about something, they should certainly call it in. We do have people on the road, either from Public Works, police, and we can take a look at it. And if need be, we can communicate directly with NSTAR if there's a concern, or if it's something we can address, we can do that as well.
Absolutely. And so obviously, as you say, kind of doing the prep work now, getting prepared, being mobilized. Now, once we do start to experience maybe some heavier winds, et cetera, I would assume that obviously you kind of hang back and then wait until that subsides to go and take care of any damage that may have occurred during the storm.
Yeah, we're used to high windstorms, certainly, whether it be associated with snow or fall events. A couple of years ago, we had I don't think it was called a hurricane, but we had a big windstorm that came through that did a substantial amount of tree damage. And, so we're used to responding in that way. We started preparing the end of last week as this one tracked up. We have a emergency operation plan, a 4-phase plan that we follow, basically making sure that all of our equipment and people are in place, that our contractors are prepared to provide the necessary equipment and people that they offer us during these events, and then we go gradually through from a preparation to a response to a post-event mode. And everybody's probably aware that the governor declared a state of emergency on Saturday for the state of Massachusetts, so that's always something that plays into certainly response and post-storm responsibilities for the Public Works and the police and other emergency response officials, because typically you're eligible for reimbursement for a portion of the response. So all of that is in play at this point, and but we've done this year after year, so now it's just a matter of implementing.
Chief of Police Paul McDonald, who also serves as the town's emergency coordinator, says his team is also hard at work.
We, over the past several days, have been coordinating our efforts with every other town department to make sure this is a smooth response to any type of emergency that might occur during Hurricane Sandy. And I think we are fully prepared. We've contacted DPW. They have brought extra crews in to make sure the roadways are clear. They brought in extra tree clearing crews. They're fully prepared. We have brought in additional staff for any type of emergency response. We've talked to all the fire chiefs, and they are fully staffed and they are ready to go.
Fantastic. So, Chief, what kind of advice do you have for residents? Obviously, the governor has declared a state of emergency. Many state non-emergency workers have been required to stay home. Obviously, our town hall still is open. What kind of advice do you have to residents?
The biggest request that we have for the residents, obviously, if there's an emergency, call 911. If there are any trees on the lines or lines down, to call us immediately and use the 911 line. Besides that, we're requesting everyone to stay off the roads and let the utility companies, let the police departments, the fire departments do their job. We do not want sightseers. Way back at Hurricane Bob, the Hyannis Fire Department spent an inordinate amount of resources trying to get a couple of individuals off the Hyannisport breakwater. So, we do not want the sightseers. Please don't go down to the beaches. That's just caused a problem for us and takes a valuable resource that we need in other areas.
Absolutely, and really you don't want to put yourself in harm's way if you don't need to be out there. Obviously, there are people who are going to want to go spectate, but as you say, kind of advise against doing that because it will take, if something is to go wrong, it'll take you guys away from taking care of something that might be a little more important.
Correct. Stay off the road. Give everybody time to do what they have to do. And if you do lose power, we will be made aware of it. And just be patient. One of our biggest concerns is the longevity of this storm, and this could be a storm that will last for 12 to 18 hours. And I know NSTAR and the other utility crews, they will not put those bucket trucks up in the air unless the winds have calmed down quite a bit. So there could be a delay in getting power back on. So everybody just has to be patient. The utilities have certainly bring in an enormous amount of resources in to assist them. If you go to different hotels around town, there's probably 75 to 125 trucks stationed around town.
Absolutely, and certainly we have a photo of that we've been showing, and I've seen them myself when I was driving around yesterday getting all my supplies together. So, Chief, not only do you serve as the Chief of Police, you're also kind of our lead emergency coordinator here in town. Talk to me a little bit about how that role, how you operate in that role.
That job is the coordination of effort. It's, as emergency management director, is to coordinate the efforts of everybody through the town management. The town manager is ultimately responsible. My job is to coordinate everybody so that if there's one person, that all the information can flow through and get out to all the other departments, so there's an effective and coordinated response to any type of emergency. And that's why we've been in contact for the last week or so. What's good about hurricanes do not sneak up on you. We knew this had been coming for the past 2 weeks, so we are totally prepared for it, and we've been meeting with everybody over the last 3 or 4 days, and everybody knows and expects what the other person is going to do. So this should be a very coordinated response, and everybody has to remember this is not the first time we've done this. We've done this many, many times in the past.
Absolutely, and certainly being prepared is so very important, regardless of what happens. And of course, you can never predict what exactly is going to happen with weather events, so being prepared is paramount.
Right, and one of the other biggest concerns is low-lying areas. We know the high tide's coming in around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and just driving through the lower areas along Craigwood Beach, Long Beach Road, the water is already up into the marsh. So that is a concern of ours. That's why we used the reverse 911 system last night, the code red, just to let the residents know in the low-lying areas that if they feel need, they probably should leave those low-lying areas. And as you've been putting out there are 3 shelters that are currently open.
Those shelters again are in Sandwich at Sandwich High School, in Yarmouth at Dennis Yarmouth High School, and at Nauset High School in Eastham. Both Sandwich and Yarmouth shelters do accept pets. Barnstable has closed its beaches, and again, if you do lose power, you want to call NSTAR right away. That number 800-592-2000. There are many cancellations and storm-related closures. Keep up to date. Check the town's website, also our Facebook page for updates. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.